All right, we move to Larry Vickers from Auburn. Larry is beginning his first year as the head women's basketball coach at Auburn University. He spent the previous 10 seasons as head coach at Norfolk State, his alma mater. While there, he led his team to a record of 177 wins and 99 losses. His last 3 seasons, his teams won the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference regular season and conference titles and made 3 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances. You'll notice at 6'9", he is the tallest of our head coaches in the league, and there are only 2 players on Auburn's men's team whose height is above that of Larry. Please welcome to the stage Larry Vickers, the head women's basketball coach at Auburn University.
Hey, how are y'all today? War Eagle?
Right. Coach, you ready to take a question?
You want an opening statement or just right to
Yeah, go ahead and with an opening statement.
Opening statement. You always wonder in these opening statements what, to talk about. I could talk about the housing market or my kids. But I'll just say one thing about Auburn women's basketball. It's been a good 5-6 months. I lost count of the days after 100. But it's been a good 5-6 months, and we're continuing to grow and build relationships in the community as well, build relationships with some of the best recruits in the country. And we're excited about what we're going to do moving forward. And we know it's going to be brick by brick, day by day, really minute by minute, second by second. But we're excited for this opportunity.
Great. Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, raise your hand. Avery and Kelly have microphones. We'll start right here in the center, about 3 rows back.
Isaac Jones with the War Report. Coach Vickers, now that you've had an opportunity to get some practices in, what players for your team are starting to emerge in a leadership capacity?
Well, as far as leadership goes, Caitlin Duhan, she's extremely vocal. Kate's one of those players that talks a ton. She's going to let you know exactly how she feels. And, you need people like that when talking to teammates. She doesn't mind bringing them in the huddles. But as far as our vocal leader, she's definitely been one of our vocal leaders. Hadi Lay, who's with me today, and Jamia Harris, those are 2 of our more leaders by example. They're going to work out every single day. They want to get better. And they've been kind of doing it from that aspect. So Kate's been more of our more vocal leader. Hadi and Jamia, they've been more of our leaders by example. This is what it looks like. Hey, we want to win in this league. This is the extra work, the extra training sections, the extra recovery stuff that you have to do that to be able to win.
Coach, we'll go all the way to the back of the room in front of me.
Richard Hendricks, ESPN. Coach, your experience that you had at Norfolk State had a lot of success. How do you think that has helped prepare you to take on the challenge at Auburn?
Well, some of my challenges at Norfolk State were more financial, and when when you have more financial issues, you have to be creative, right? And you have to think out of the box. And I think now being at Auburn with a lot more resources, I can now add the resources to the creativity, to the innovation piece, and hopefully it can lead to success, But, we had a terrific fan base where we were before, but, the Auburn family has really bought into me, and, they want us to have that same tremendous success that we've had in the past with Final Fours.
Okay, we'll go straight in front, second row.
Wilton Jackson with the Knicks basketball coach. We've actually talked before during your time at Norfolk State. I wanted to ask, what's your plan in terms of the culture for this team? That's the first part of the question. Then the second part, second most international players on this year's team. Was it an impact of yours to make sure that you had more international players, or was that a big thing for you?
Well, I think for us, when you put a team together in a little bit over 30 days, you want some form of talent and then hard work, and we felt like with some of those international players that we brought on campus, they were workers, and they were workers and they're ready for the grind and what that looks like. To touch on your first question about the culture, our creed says something about, hard work, excuse me. And I'm not standing here without that, and I want my players to understand the benefits of working hard consistently, daily in the classroom, off the classroom, and what that success, what that can look like in regards to success.
Okay, we'll stay in the center there.
Coach, defense has been a hallmark of your teams in your head coaching tenure. What is the defensive identity going to look like for this team? You said you've had to kind of adapt it to the personnel. Like, what do you feel like you guys are going to be defensively this season?
Well, we're going to be extremely versatile. Right now, we're working on our zones. You heard zones with an S, that's plural. Obviously, we got our mans and we got multiple mans, So, in our league, I think I counted 7 or 8 teams in the top 25. You're not going to be able to play the same way. The coaching is too good. The players are too good. So we want to get people thinking. We're not going to give you the same reads multiple times. Our game plan might be different the second game than the first game. Obviously, that second game, if it's not Florida, will probably be in a tournament. But we want to just show that versatility there with our defenses and our ability to be adaptable.
Stay in the same row, just right next door. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, Daryl Dapprich, Locked on Auburn. Just to piggyback on the in this day and age of college basketball, you had a really daunting task to come in and rebuild that roster. Mm-hmm. Never mind retaining a roster, you had to rebuild it. Is it kind of like a relief now that you can just get to coaching basketball and that's behind you?
Yes. It's interesting that you said that. A friend of mine received a call from one of the SEC women's basketball coaches just to give me some advice, and they're like, hey, this job has less to do about coaching than you think, and that was something good to hear early on because I'm like, basketball, X and O's, that's where my brain goes. So just kind of hearing that kind of put me on a right path. We've tried to, in this short amount of time, build relationships. Where I was before, I wanted to know everybody from high major to D3, from Charlotte to New York City, right? And now my geographical, map has kind of shifted a little bit south. So right now we're in the process of just building a ton of relationships. We know we're not going to be able to do it in this league with the amount of top 100 McDonald's All-American kids, that some of these teams had with just hard work. So we're just trying to build those relationships now and get people to be able to see, hey, this is what we expect from him. This is his style of play. Our players are going to be taken care of there, and he's going to love them and push them just like we would.
Okay, we'll go over here on the right-hand side. Now.
Larry, Jeff Shear, AuburnTigers.com. Could you touched on their leadership, but you could talk about the 2 student athletes you brought today and what they bring on the court.
Okay. They're kind of completely different players, but both of them will be able to check a lot of boxes. There's going to be some games, Jamia Harris doesn't shoot the ball as well as she might like, but she's a guard that's tough enough to get 7 to 10 rebounds, And Hadi Lay, she's a player that some forwards in our league are going to hate to defend. She can kind of play inside out, stretch the floor. But not only just, they want to really be good. And they're hard on themselves, and it's my job to kind of pat them on the back and say, hey, we practice again tomorrow. Hey, we play again in 2 days, right? But, if you can get a locker room, and I tell everybody one thing about our locker room, they want to be good. They want to be successful. They want to make me look good, So as we kind of go through this, just going through the roller coaster, going through the ups and downs, they're ready for it.
Okay, we'll go back here in the middle.
Coach, you just talked about kind of the recruiting map and how it's shifting a little bit. You focused a lot on the state of Virginia when you were up at Norfolk. Are you going to be kind of trying to conquer the state of Alabama type of coach in your recruiting, or because you have the resources, you're going to branch out a little bit more as you have with the international footprint you have now?
Of course you want to, it's one of those things, you build it and they will come, but you want to have players from Alabama immediately. You want to have fans from high school transfer over to your college program. Hey, we want to see X, Y, and Z. We went to the preseason game, last night here. I ran into Doug Bush, who's obviously an important man in Alabama AAU basketball. So just kind of building those relationships, like I said, to just make everybody comfortable. Auburn's a tremendous place. When they say the loveliest village on the plains and the happiest student body in the country, those numbers I think are accurate. Our student body is so happy. So we want to keep those Alabama kids at home to where they could be successful.
Over here on the right, Jeff?
Along those lines, how important was it to have Soraya Daniels remain with the program and be someone that can be a part of your program in year one?
You know, Soraya Daniels has been a player for me that's, you know, you'd be like, that's an LV type of kid. You know, she can play multiple positions, but she understands the value and the tradition at Auburn. You know, her father's Marquise Daniels, her mom is in the Hall of Fame, her number's retired, right? So it's like, you know, Soraya embodies that. She understands what success looks like for Auburn women's basketball and Auburn in general. And, you know, you want to have, when you bring other people in, you want to have people like, hey, you know, she loves it. You know, she loves it, and you can feel the love, and then you're like, well, why does she love it so much? And, you know, we have somebody that can answer those questions.
A question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. All right, we've got another one in the back.
Coach, you had a lot of success with bringing in some portal players such as Diamond Johnson at Norfolk State, big-time scorers. What about your philosophy allows you to take in players and get them to contribute in such large ways so quickly?
You know, getting Diamond for us was, at my last institution, was a great feat. She was like the number 8 player in the transfer portal that year. You know, they don't come to small schools in Virginia. So I think one thing about our style of play, it looks like a WNBA game. You know, so they'll be able to kind of turn on our film and say, hey, look at this play, look at the Liberty run it. Hey, look at this play, look at the Aces run it. And it wasn't done like, I didn't plan it like that, it just happened to be that way. So, you know, a lot of these players have pro aspirations, and I chose to come to the SEC because I know, you know, there's a bigger spotlight on it for my players as well, and they'll be able to say, hey, this will transfer over.
Coach Vickers, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, I appreciate it. War Eagle.